Welcome to the Voice of Many podcast show with Yolanda and Vanessa.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us. Our podcast would not be possible without you and our sponsor, Z-Funk Productions. Today, we're starting an episode that we call Men in Music. We want to welcome our guest, music producer and artist, Buddy Roe, to the show. Thank you for being here.
No problem. Thank y'all for having me.
It's a pleasure.
Can you tell our listeners a little bit about yourself and where you're from?
My name is Buddy Roe. I'm a hip hop artist and producer. I'm from Wichita, Kansas, via New Orleans. Not only am I a hip hop artist and producer, but I'm also an entrepreneur in the clothing line industry. I also own a production media company that create content, and I'm also an actor as well too.
Can you also tell us about NFK, what it stands for, and how long it's been around?
Yeah, so NFK has been around for quite some time. So what NFK stands for is Newly Formed Kings. And the way that I came up with that acronym or the name, I would have to kind of go back. So when we were younger, me and a couple of the fellas, when we first started doing music, and with me moving to Kansas, we had our little squad or whatever, and we had to come up with a catchy name. And one of my partners was like, "Well, what if we call ourselves, niggas from Kansas," which is NFK.
Mm-hmm.
And we were young at the time, and we were kind of like, "Oh, that's dope. That's pretty cool," And so we kind of ran with it. So I kind of shortened it to NFK because I always had in the back of my head that name would be hard to resonate with other people. So the acronym stuck so well that people love the acronym.
Mm-hmm.
But I always kind of dodged that question: what does it stand for? And so when people found out what it stood for, they had no issues or no concerns with it. But I just felt like as time passed and, we get older and we grow and we learn, I just felt like the name in itself just wasn't, it didn't hold enough weight to really, to really speak of who we are. So I want to get away from, the word nigga being in the name. So I changed to, something, more appropriate and something that represents us. And so I changed it to Newly Formed Kings.
I like that.
So, I know you have been in the music industry for quite a while. Where did your love of music come from?
My love for music, I would say it's always been in me. I just really never knew until I had someone close to me kind of tap into me to bring it out. Even when I was as young as 6 years old, my mom, she always had me playing, the piano or the drums in church. And this is when I was living back home in New Orleans. Never took lessons. My mom just said, get up there and play. And so, I had to kind of learn what I was doing on the go. But luckily I had my cousin, who kind of helped guided me as far as, doing music. He'll help me get on the drums while I get on the piano or vice versa. And so time passed by. I think I want to say 11 or 12 years old when, my parents, they moved to Wichita, Kansas, which at the time I was kind of like, why in the world are we moving to the middle of nowhere? We're from New Orleans, so
big difference.
Oh yeah. all we knew, back home in New Orleans, all we knew about Kansas was, the Wizard of Oz and Tumbleweed. So I'm kind of like, man, I can't believe this. So, I moved to Wichita, Kansas, and, we moved here. My mom, she got settled into a church, real quick. And one of the people at the church, my best friend, Larry Thomas, rest in peace. He was the first person that I connected with. And of course, his dad was the minister of the church. And so we just kind of created a bond. And from that point, his dad was the one that kind of tapped into our abilities, and he made us play in the church. It's crazy because, one Sunday he'd be like, you get on the drums and you play on the piano, knowing we don't know what we doing, we got no rhythm, we just up there making noise and pushing keys. And then the next week, he'll stop by the house on Friday and he'd be like, here, you gonna play this trombone and you gonna play this trumpet. And I'm like, what? And so he kind of, tapped into our spirit as far as music. And, from that point, we actually, formed like a little rap group in the church. And, he kind of took us on tours around the city, going to different churches performing. And from that point, it just kind of took off as far as the music goes. So at a very young age, I was always really into music. I didn't really take it serious until, I want to say early 20s, just understanding, the business, understanding that there's money behind it, just really taking it serious. And so that's how I just kind of took off. So yeah, I've been doing this since I was like 6, 7 years old.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Don't tell your age, okay? You got it.
No, I got it.
Oh, man. So you've been in the music arena here for quite a long time. While you've been in the music industry, I know it hasn't always been easy to establish and put your foot in place, to get started. Tell us about a couple of the challenges you've had to face.
One of the biggest challenges I personally had to face, there's quite a few, but one of the biggest challenges, and we still kind of face it to this day, is with being in a market like Wichita or Kansas, where there's like not a lot of entertainment value. Sometimes it can be tough to kind of really plant your foot in the industry, because the entertainment value here is not as high or not as big as you would find in LA, or that you will find in New York or Houston or Dallas, places like that. So you really have to go the extra mile versus someone who's like in Atlanta, where it's the Mecca and it's there for them. It's right in front of their face. So, we're constantly having to travel, constantly have to prove ourselves, constantly have to fight the stereotype of, well, y'all from Kansas, what do y'all know? Things like that. So that's one of those battles that we still face every day. Personally, for me personally, because of Wichita being, it's a pretty big city. Again, not as big as, the Houston, but a lot of people here are kind of like family orientated. So with me moving to Wichita, Kansas, all my family's back home in New Orleans. So I really had to go the extra mile to really solidify myself and prove to people that, I don't have the family to support me like you guys do. So I got to really, stand strong and make myself presentable and separate myself. There's tons of challenges. I mean, I can go through a list of them. The sacrifices that you got to make when you're dealing with this industry, because the industry wants 120% of your time when you have, a whole nother life to live as a human being.
Wow. That puts things in total different perspective all the way around.
It's not like what people would imagine it to be.
Mm-hmm. And that's amazing too, with the support. Like you say, you're not in your hometown to get that support that you need.
Correct, yeah. And as it stands right now, like the whole city is really behind me, and they fully support. I mean, they know, according to the city, they feel like, he's the next to go, or he's that dude. But there was a lot of sacrifice. I mean, you're talking like not having to spend time with your kids, constantly traveling, and so then you lose out on a lot of those family moments and whatnot. So yeah, it can get a little bit tough.
Okay. Wow. Okay, so with all of this going on, what's been your greatest accomplishment so far in the music industry?
My greatest accomplishment, I would say, gaining the knowledge from a lot of A&Rs and a lot of the big wigs that really sit behind his desk and give the knowledge of the business. I'm pretty sure most people probably say biggest accomplishment would be that you perform with this major artist or that major artist, but those are like moments. Cause I've performed, with the likes of like Lil Wayne in Houston and A-Ball and MJG. I've opened up for big name artists like Busta Rhymes and Paul Wall and Slim Thug and Moneybagg Yo. It's a huge list that I performed with and in front of and opened up for. But those are like for the moments. Like my biggest accomplishment is sitting down with people like with Clive at Atlantic Records, mm-hmm. and him really, giving me the game as far as what it takes to really be in this industry and what are the things you need to do, what are the things you do not need to do, to be, successful and to stay consistent in the business. So those are some of my biggest accomplishments, meeting those kind of people. And then, of course, being able to establish my own, independent label, where I don't have to sell my talent, mm-hmm. or sell my rights over. I can actually own everything that I do.
Yeah.
Which is something that I can, pass down to the generation.
True. So with the hip hop and rap changing so much, what are you doing and how are you making sure that it continues to stay alive?
Just having to, just making sure you stay relevant to what's going on. There's a lot of, no disrespect to, some of the music out there, but, there's a lot of music out there that tends to be fabricated, but it's all in fun, and that's music for the moment, music for good times. Mm-hmm. But I like to really stay, I like to kind of stay in tune with the current events that's going on. That's what people really gravitate to, is needing to know what's going on. So just kind of staying consistent with what's going on in the world, and expressing yourself through the music, because that kind of music never dies. It's always going to be, something that people want. Mm-hmm. They may not never ask for it, but it's what they want.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'm sorry, not what they want, but it's what they need.
Yeah.
And so things like that. And then, of course, I'm a very big visual kind of person. So, music videos and visual content is real big for me. So I like to kind of create content that has a storyline to it, or it has something that's intriguing to keep you watching it. So those are some of the ways I kind of stay keeping the hip hop scene, or keeping the music so relevant, or keeping it as good as it is.
Yeah, that's good. That's cool.
So,
Matter of fact, just to give you an example. So I just dropped a new single off of my project called Talking to You. And I know some of the artists have been doing this, but where I'm from, it's really not, as big. So I'm just kind of changing the platform where I'm at. So I shot a short film to my single. So it's going to be something different than just a regular music video. It's actually going to be like a short film movie to the single.
Okay, so when can we see that?
It should be done, I want to say, by the end of this week.
Okay.
It'll be ready. And, I could definitely shoot y'all a little, sneak peek of it.
Okay, yes, thank you.
So what's going to be the next big thing for Buddy Roe? Whether it be music or your movies and production?
Let's see, the next big thing. Oh, that's a good question. So currently, I'm working on dropping the album early December. The name of the album is going to be called About That Work. I'm going to have about 10 to 11 songs on the album. Mostly every song is going to have like a visual content to it. So that's something that I've really been priding on, because I've been taking my time on making sure it's right, that every song has value to it. So when y'all hear it, it's a project you can listen to from front to end. And every video you can watch, it's like, I can watch every video as many times and still not get bored. So that's one thing I'm priding on. My clothing line, I've kind of launched the clothing line a little bit, but I have a new fall gear that I'm getting ready to drop, more primarily focused on the females and the young kids. So that's going to be coming out here very, very soon. And then, we're about to get back into shooting some movies, and we got a new movie we're going to start filming here. Here, I want to say next month. And the name of the movie is called Moving Silence. It's going to be filmed by Devon Bray, who's my videographer for all my videos that I shoot. And he also, filmed the movie Pearl 1 and Pearl 2 as well.
Oh, that was good. That was good. I'm sorry. That was good. That was good.
Yeah, so yeah, Moving Silence is going to be like a crazy thriller movie. I don't want to go too much in detail with it, but just to let you know, it's going to be about a police officer named Karen, quote unquote. And, she moves into this, black neighborhood, and her next door neighbor is an African American. He's an older guy. But he's deaf. And he has secrets of his own. So there's going to be a lot of twists and turns as far as her interaction living in an African American neighborhood, and then him being an elderly deaf guy with having a lot of secrets of his own. So it's going to be a pretty crazy thriller.
Please keep us posted. Please.
Yes.
That sounds great. That sounds great.
No problem. You got you.
Oh my gosh. Oh my. So, I mean, Buddy Roe, you have your hands in some of everything. And I have to say, you've been very successful in everything that you put your hands on. So you're a man that's not only in the music side, you're also, you have your clothing line, but, your movies that you share with everyone now via Facebook, they're just awesome. Can you tell us how you got into that and how you're selecting your movies?
Yeah. So the way that I got into it was, it was based off of the music, and being a content creator, you're always trying to find different algorithms or different ways to kind of like build your platform. And again, just kind of stemming from the fact of being in where we're from, that there's like not a lot of entertainment value, as opposed to LA. Because, you can go to LA, you can get on YouTube or whatever, and you get 1 million views just because you're there. But you can't get that same luxury here. So, me and my partner, Devon Bray, we was kind of chopping up, figuring some things out on how Facebook works and how the algorithms work and how they trend certain things. And we kind of got into the fact of, we noticed that people love content. Music is great. We all love music. But people gravitate to visual content more than anything. Mm-hmm. And so we was like, well, why not we just stream movies? And with streaming movies, we can then be able to share whatever, content that we want to share, whether it's music or just anything visual. And so we've been working it for years and years. And we've been doing this for years. To the point where we've been noticing that people were just simply loving to watch movies. And so, we kept building up our page. At one point, we had like 1 million people following our page just to watch movies. And we didn't understand how important that was to people. And so we started learning the algorithms and whatnot, as far as how it works. And so at one point, we were just like streaming the best movies possible, for people to watch. However, where we kind of failed at the first time was we didn't understand the demographics that we were targeting. Mm. Being African Americans, we had, primarily African American people following us. However, we wasn't showing the right content. So that's when we kind of went back to the drawing board and was like, okay, well, if these are the type of people that's following us, they don't care about showing the latest blockbuster movie that was in the theaters. They want to tap into their culture. So we did some research, and there is like an urban cinema. If you're not aware of it, there's like an urban cinema movie channel that shows all of the urban movies that are submitted to, that are submitted from these producers, and it goes to this platform. And so what we did was we kind of understood the codes and the algorithms, and we kind of set it up on our page to where we can pull those movies and stream them on Facebook for people. So now we're showing content where producers who may not have a chance to make it big in the industry, they have a chance to really show their platform through like Facebook.
Well, I'm definitely a viewer. I'm definitely a watcher. Like we were talking before we even started. I mean, some of the movies that you show I've never seen, but they are so good. So good. Great selection.
Man, like I've half of these movies I've never heard in my life. I've never seen in my life. And I'm like, man, where have all these movies been at? And it was kind of a great lesson that we learned because, when it comes to Hollywood is going to be so focused on wanting to only put certain movies in front of you. Mm-hmm. When there's like a whole black, exploitation of movies that no one's never heard of because Hollywood is not giving, the black producers and the black artists a chance to even compete in Hollywood. So that was one thing that we wanted to make sure that we kind of brought to light as well, as far as, our culture and who we are. That it's and not to take away from, the white movies in America, but at the same time, there's a lot of great black actors and actresses, and there's a lot of great movies that have been written and told that, they don't get the chance because of who we are.
True.
So we definitely wanted to make sure that, we're bringing that side of it to, to people's enjoyment.
Mm-hmm. Great job. Great job.
So I know you were talking about your clothing line. For our listeners, can you tell us the name of your clothing line and how they can begin purchasing some of the items when they become available?
Yeah, so the name of the clothing line is Roe Clothing, R-O-E Clothing. ROE stands for Respect Over Everything. And the website will be up in October, and it's going to be About That Work Clothing. About That Work .clothing is going to be the website. The reason why I chose About That Work .clothing is because the first release that I did was about that work design. I don't know if you guys have seen it on the page or not.
I've seen it.
So that was the first release, and to be honest with you, I really didn't want to go with that name, but everyone has gravitated to it so much because they love what it stands for. So I just went ahead and stuck with About That Work .clothing. But the umbrella brand is going to be Roe Clothing.
Okay, cool. And we'll definitely put a link on our website for everyone too.
Mm-hmm. And who is your biggest inspiration throughout your entire life?
Oh man, I have a few. Definitely my grandma, who passed away. God bless her soul. She's been a huge inspiration, just because of who she was and what she's been through. Really, my grandpa was kind of like the solid rock of everything. But when he passed, my grandma stepped up and, she kind of kept everything glued together. But just, as you grow, when you grow older and you start to find out things that you thought you already knew everything about your grandma. Mm-hmm. And as you get older, she starts taking those stories that you never knew.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you'd be like, what, girl, it's real? You did all that? So, she's been like one of my biggest inspirations, just because that's who everybody look to for the answers for anything. Mm-hmm. Growing up in Mississippi, going through the racism, just going through the tough times, and then being able to, provide for. So my grandma, so she had 22 kids.
Whoa.
That's what I said. I said, what? Families nowadays, they average about 3 kids, maybe, I would say. But I did find out that 12 of the kids were hers, which is still a lot. But then 10 of them were, adopted. She had adopted kids. So my grandma was really just, a warm-hearted person. At the same time, like I said, just growing up, we own a lot of land in Mississippi, and so she's in her will. She pretty much broke up the land in between all of her kids and all of her grandkids. So that kind of tells you a lot there.
She had a lot of love.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it was just like she was just, it was almost that soulful feeling. Is how she was. So you can always run to her for comfort, for instructions, for guidance, for knowledge. It's crazy that, my grandma, with her being from Mississippi, mm-hmm. in the latter part of her life, with me already being established here in Wichita, she'll come and visit, every so often with my mom. But it's so wild that my grandma actually has her own national day here in Kansas.
Wow.
They gave her a key to the city.
Wow.
She has her own national day here. It's called the Laura Williams Day, which is October 4th. And so I'm like, how in the world? You're not even from here, and I live here. And you get a key to the city.
What a legacy.
But, yeah,
wow.
Yeah, so she's been my biggest inspiration. When it comes to, I would say when it comes to like, just being in this industry, I really have kind of studied the likes of, people like Jay-Z. Just as far as how he handles business, in a sense. Even though, there's kind of like a shunned light on him as far as some of the things he do, but just behind the scenes what people don't see, how much support he's given to certain, avenues when it comes to Black culture and, how to do the right things even though it may not seem right because people want the easy route. So he's somebody that I really kind of like study behind and been inspired by. And then, of course, there is the Tyler Perry's, still just, listening to a lot of things that he says when it comes like to the movie industry and how he got started and, some of the trials and tribulations that he went through. Those are good things to kind of feed off of too.
Wow. You really, that means a lot. That means a lot. But I tell you, I want to say thank you. Thank you so much for taking this opportunity, this time to be with us. It's actually been awesome. Awesome. I can't say enough. It's really, truly been an awesome experience, getting a chance to talk with you, get to know you, because a lot of people, a lot of times we see people on TV, we hear them on the radio, but we really don't know the person and the story behind that person. So I thank you.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely appreciate you guys. Definitely appreciate you guys' platform because, especially with, the whole pandemic era that we're in and everybody being, almost quarantined to be home, and needing things to do in here, the podcast platform is actually kind of booming and it does give a lot of great information as far as keeping people in touch with what's going on. So yeah, I mean, I appreciate you guys' platform, and allow me to kind of be on here.
Anytime, you are welcome.
No
Anytime, my friend. I tell you, it's been an honor. Well, I know you love his music, and I'm going to ask you to sign us off in your own special way.
All right. Well, this is your boy, Buddy Roe, a.k.a. Mr. About That Work. And you guys are now tuned in to the Voice of Many. And make sure y'all stay plugged in with them. They got a dope thing going on. If you're not aware, man, make sure y'all stay plugged in with them. I got my new album dropping early December called About That Work. Make sure y'all check out the clothing line. Make sure y'all subscribe to the NFK Originals page on Facebook if you guys want to see some of the unseen movies that you guys have never heard of. There's a lot of great content on there from movies, the little short films, the music videos. Yeah, tap in with me, subscribe, like the page. And live, love, and have fun.
All right. Once again, thank you, Buddy Roe, for coming. And to our listeners, thank you for listening to the Voice of Many podcast. And if you have any questions or suggestions, Please contact us on our many social media web pages. And please don't forget to subscribe to our channel, and we hope to talk to you later.